The waiting is over. Baseball's biggest free agent has made his decision. Bryce Harper will join the Philadelphia Phillies. The outfielder spent the first 7 seasons of his career with the Washington Nationals. Harper reportedly signed a 13-year, $330 million contract with the Phillies. Did I read that right? $330 million contract? Incredible. Well, the deal does not include any opt-outs, and Harper has a full no-trade clause, and that means that Harper could be in the city of brotherly love until 2032. Bill Reiter is a host of Reiter's Block on CBS Sports HQ. Bill, did I get that number right?
Yeah, I had to check it about 38 times when the news came down yesterday, but you're right, 13 years, $330 million.
It's just incredible. So ultimately, first off, it's kind of weird not seeing him wearing a Nationals uniform anymore. But what does this mean for Harper? And does he deserve this deal?
I mean, it means he can buy 3 or 4 more private islands or whatever one does with more than $250 million. Look, let me preface this, Rena, with I think he's a remarkable player. I understand he's an MVP. He has won an MVP at the prime of his career. But no one deserves this contract. It will be a bad contract at some point. So what it means for Harper is he's very, very wealthy. And no, I don't think anyone deserves this kind of money, but it's what the market demands. And Philadelphia was willing to give him a whole bunch of cash and lock him in for a long time in the hopes that the first 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 years of this deal will lead to championships.
Look, he's good. He's good. There's no question about that. It's a huge move for the Phillies. It caps off a big offseason. But you've got the Mets, you've got the Nationals, you've got the Braves. They've also added really big pieces this offseason. Is Philadelphia, though, at this point, the clear favorite in the National League East? Or do you think this is still going to be a dogfight for this division?
Yeah, I think they may be the favorite. I'm not, but it will be a dogfight. Vegas certainly really likes the move. Their odds, the Phillies' odds, both to win the World Series jumped up significantly, 12-1 to 8-1, and their odds to win the NL pennant went all the way to 6-1. But you said it. I mean, the Braves are really good and really interesting. The Nationals, some people around baseball think could be sneaky competitive with Bryce Harper gone. And the Mets have 2 of the 5 guys that are most likely, again, according to Vegas, to win the Cy Young in the National League this year. It will be a dogfight, and that's just the East. But there's no doubt that, at least in the short term, the Phillies are markedly better offensively. As we all know, Bryce Harper doesn't pitch. I think that pitching staff in Philadelphia a little worrisome, but there's certainly a better baseball team.
All right, I want to turn and ask you some football news. Jason Witten, coming out of retirement, will turn to the Dallas Cowboys. What do you think this means for America's team? And also, what does it mean for Monday Night Football, the broadcast?
Yeah, I hate to sound unkind, but I want to answer your question. Honestly, I think it's great for Jason Witten because he wants to compete again in the NFL. I think it's great for the Cowboys because he is, by all accounts, a remarkable leader in that locker room. And I think it's great for football fans because Jason Witten has many skills, but it turned out being a broadcaster on Monday Night Football, perhaps not one of those skills. So, Rena, I think we all win from this decision that Jason Witten will be shaping football conversations on the field rather than in the broadcast booth.
Okay. You never know until you try, right?
Hey, no judgment. I can't play football, so it's no judgment, Jason.
Finally, I do have to ask you about the Alliance of American Football. Do you think this league is really taking serious attention away from the other established sports leagues?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I don't know that it's taking attention away from the established sports leagues, and this comparison's a little off base, but I think the Big Three is a better comp for the Alliance because the Big Three, 3-on-3 basketball league, founded by Ice Cube, was never going to compete with the NBA, but it might pull some similar fans. I think the Alliance could do the same thing. I like the product. I find myself watching it. It's certainly not the National Football League. If the Alliance can find a way to send its players to the NFL, even a few over the course of the first year or two, I think there's a chance it can be very successful as a secondary football league and as a resource for the NFL to scout talent and find guys who can compete at that level that, for whatever reason, NFL scouts and GMs had missed.
So you're saying not all hope is lost at this point?
Yeah, I think I'll say this. I don't watch it with the same fervor that I do the NFL or the NBA or Major League Baseball, but I watch it, and like all of us, I'm a busy guy, but I find myself sort of interested in it.
Bill Reiter, thank you for joining us, Bill.
Anytime.
And don't forget, you can watch Bill's show, Reiter's Block, every Monday through Friday, 5 p.m., only on CBS Sports HQ.